Hey everybody, what's up? Hello, hello, hello. This is Miss G. Hello, hello. Gotta adjust. I gotta because I look one way on YouTube and the other way on Facebook. I want to welcome everyone. This is Gloria, Miss G, 50 Shades of Glow. But thank you. Our group, yay. Africa awaits. Travel and repatriation to the motherland. We're going to talk about it. Let's talk about travel and move to the continent tonight. Today, we are talking about Mauritius. Okay. And Mauritius is an island country. So a lot of people don't realize that they just see the continent of Africa, right? They just see the continent. A lot of people don't realize that Africa has several countries that's not even connected to it. And Mauritius is one of those countries. So, um, and also, you don't hear too much about, hey, DC, you don't hear too much about um, Mauritius is because if you go, it's an African country, but it doesn't represent Africa. Hey, Q, it doesn't represent Africa. So back in the day, right, when the French, because this country was occupied by a couple of folks, right? So it was from 1638. The people from the Netherlands had it. So the Netherlands was part of the nonsense originally. So they ran across this island, right? 1638 to 1710. Then after that, the French came and took it over and ruled it 1715 to 1810. Britain came 1810 and took it over until 1968. And 1968, right in the 60s is when most of the African countries received their independence. So that's when Africa got its independence, but they were there long time before 1600, minding their business. But it was just if it was a few and a lot of the island countries. Hey, Miss Nazinga, Laura, welcome, 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 welcome. So um, a lot of the island countries um, probably broke off from the mainland because it's very interesting that um, it's very interesting that most of really all of the island countries don't have the resources that the mainland has. They struggle for resources, and basically, when the explorers and the colonizers came and took them over, knowing that it wasn't a direct access to the mainland to get resources, the um, the colonized Europeans that had the resources and the money, cousin had the resources and the money. They went over to these islands. So some people that's in real estate, and you hear about these private islands that are uninhabited, and you can go and buy an island. So these islands probably broke off from the side of the continent, and because they are considered to be Africa, but they're not connected to the mainland. Auntie Paulette, Miss Courtney, welcome. Welcome, y'all. Thank you so much. And Religiously Rodney, what's up? So, anyway, a lot of these island countries that people did put island in the chat, y'all. Let's get to rolling. Put island in the chat if y'all knew that Africa had island countries, countries that were not in the Africa that we see. And it's a lot of them, several, a couple of hundred. But is a couple of hundred like little small islands connected to like that's connected to like Seychelles or Cape Verde or what's the other one? Principal, Sao and Principal. None of those countries are connected to the mainland, but those same countries are like paradise travel spots because the Europeans saw and really nothing, no one was over there. So they made it their own paradise. And basically, they brought the Africans from the mainland over to help them build and work on the island. So when you go to Mauritius, and Mauritius is a beautiful place, whole lot of money, you got to have the dollars. But if you're from the United States, again, if you're from the United States, you know, and we got our little savings, we got our little pension, we got it, whatever, and we haven't been reckless with our money, we can go over there and chill. Beautiful. It's an island, so it's surrounded totally by water. It's small. It's only about a little more than one. It's about 1.5 million people. That's very small. It's out of the 54 countries. It is yeah, out of the 54 countries, Mauritius is one of the wealthiest. It's the fourth in GDP and the highest GDP in Africa. And you would think, oh, well, South Africa that got dough. Kenya has a lot of money, but this little small island, and that's usually how it is with the small islands, because most of the islands are more connected to Europe. Europe is controlling and financing them than Africa. That's where the money's coming from, because it's one African country that the French has total control over, but it's an African country. I forgot the name of the country. But I didn't include it. I talked about it before in the first go round, but I did not put it on this list because we're talking about countries to also live. And I was on the fence about Mauritius, about living there. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, but Mauritius is a beautiful place. So that's why I was like, well, you can go and visit. It is a major wedding destination because it's a beautiful place, white sand, beach, everything. So just like when you go and do destination weddings, it's definitely a beautiful place. They speak English. Okay, there's no official language. That's so weird. That's a fun fact. There's no official language in Mauritius, but they do have a combination. It's English, French, and Creole. So the Creole is like a French and like a Swahili with a little mix of English in it. And what else? Mauritius was not Mauritius always. Back in the day, it was originally called Dina Robi. And then it was changed to Mauritius because of one of I think it was British. Was it British? It was one of those colonizer leaders. They named it, it was like Sir whatever, and part of the name was had like Mauritius in it. So that's how Mauritius got its name. Now, if you want to go there to vacay, okay, beautiful, um, one of a kind, just paradise, travelers or vacation paradise. Now, when we talked about, we what did we talk about yesterday? Because that was like a hidden gem. I can't remember from day to day. What country did we talk about yesterday? Well, Sekione, what country? Y'all put in the chat what country we talked about yesterday. I forgot that quick. What country we talked about yesterday? What country we talk about yesterday? What did we talk about? I have so many notes. I'm so old school. I have so many notes. But anyway, the country that we talked about yesterday, that was a paradise and beauty, like natural all of its own. And it was, enriched. Oh, Lesotho. Lesotho. We got to do a trip on Lesotho just to roll back. 2026, 2027, we're doing a trip to Lesotho, y'all. The folks that weren't on the live yesterday, look at the playback. Lesotho got it going on. So we need to do a trip to Lesotho. But anyway, going back to Mauritius. So if you want to take, a girls trip, a wedding, uh, wedding honeymoon, Mauritius is it. But I only give Mauritius overall about three African handbags. Libo, because it's a mix of things. So as I put in the title, um, as I put in the title, that it was an African, non-African island. So it's considered an African country, but when you go there, it's mainly because I think when the colonizers found the country, they originally brought people over to work from India, from because where Mauritius is so far away from Africa. It's literally sitting in the middle of the Indian Ocean, like so far away. You got to take a flight, and it's not a short flight to get to Mauritius, sitting slap dag in, hey, Caden, in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So back in the day, they had a lot of Indians come and set things up. And so when you go, even now, when you go into customs to the airport, you think you're in like India, Pakistan, and you're like, I thought I was in Africa. I thought this Mauritius. I haven't seen a black person yet. Even working at the airport, you see all Indians. It's all Indians. It's a lot of, mixed people because of it was the whites that was there when they bought the Indians, when they bought the Africans. So it's a lot of mixed, but pure Africans, very little. And um, as far as like white people that live there, um, they vacation. It's holiday. It's few white people that live there. I don't want to say few, but most of the properties and villas, talking about expat life, you would think that is more of an expat life, but in on those islands, they are usually heavily um represented with um, holiday homes or villa homes, and the people that you see that live there all the time usually are workers. So that's when you see the Indians or the Africans. Um, they work there on the island. And the white people that you do see in the big houses and everything, that's usually their second home. More than likely, it's their second home. It's usually not their year-round house. And I've seen that in other places, like in Kenya. I always refer back to Kenya because that's what I know the best. Um, there's gorgeous homes on the coast, and most of them are not empty, but empty or Airbnb. The owners are not there year round. That's usually a second house. So that's what the deal is with Mauritius. It is, as I mentioned before, it is the fourth highest in wealth. The GDP is the fourth highest in Africa. So they got a little bit of coins there. And with that said, okay, that's why you got to keep your coins right. That that rolls into literacy. They have a 90% literacy rate there, and their life expectancy with their quality of life. Okay, so they got the money, they got their education, and they have the resources to live well. And then you're there, you're getting the fresh fish, you're getting everything that goes with having a little dough. The life expectancy in Mauritius is 75 years old. That's the average. So you will see people, they're 80, 90 years old because there's no stress. That's one. You're eating well. The healthcare system there and the hospitals are um, relatively really good. What was shared with an expat, if you need something major, if you have something major, you can. She said you should be advised to, you know, go someplace that has more sophistication as far as if you have, I guess, cancers or whatever, something really major. But everything else is done right there. They have high quality healthcare and doctors, dentists, everything like that. Top notch right there. You don't have to go anywhere. What she does recommend is uh, getting health insurance, and for a family that averages about $170 a month. Woo! Talking about we just getting soaked to the sun. $170 a month for health insurance for a family of four. Yes. So, um, Mauritius got its independent. Anybody have any questions? I'm not sure. Anybody want to jump on? It was someone earlier that said, "Oh, so I want to hear what you have to say about Mauritius." And I was like, "Oh, are you from Mauritius?" Anybody want to jump on camera? If you do, send me a message. And please, y'all, I always ask, and hello, hello, hello on YouTube. Please subscribe, help a sister out. Let me get to finally 1,000 subscribers after 10 years. No, I'm only kidding. Help a sister out. Press that like button. Press the notification button so you get reminded that I come on 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. We're going to get all the goods. We do the hour of power. And what's power? Knowledge is power. Make us powerful. And what's the most powerful? The motherland, Africa, honey. So y'all in the right place. Y'all in the right place. Getting the hour of power. because don't listen, because it's been crazy. Anybody's listening to the news, I'm not even going there. I'm not even going to dignify by repeating the nonsense that is out there in these Western media streets. But anyway, so great independence in 1968. Another fun fact is more women than men. So, ladies, if y'all going to look for yourselves a little rich man, nah, it's more women than men. um, Also, a good time to go. Wedding, beautiful wedding destination, of course. And the best time to go is May through December, but it's beautiful weather all year round. But most of, the African countries, they have a rainy season. The ecosystem does very well there. Uh, and another fun fact and a bonus of the country having a little bit of coins is that they have free transportation all the time, buses, not the border borders, okay, but they have bus service, and it is free to students, senior citizens, and the disabled, for what it should be. Like that only really makes sense because all three of those demographics struggle. So why not? Okay, let the students get to school. They're too young to have a real job. And then the older people, they've done their time. Let them have something free. And then the disabled. So, yes, they have free transportation for those folks. Okay, as I said, the beautiful beach, wonderful destination. So, if you want to consider being an expat there, it's not filled with expats because it's more of a vacation spot than a place to really live daily. And when we talk about Tanzania, because everybody hears about Zanzibar. Oh my God, Zanzibar, Zanzibar, Zanzibar. But Zanzibar is kind of in the same space. Like it's beautiful, drop dead beautiful to visit, but you would not want to live there because it's very touristy. And then when you get there, you're going to feel a type of way because you're like, I thought I was coming to Africa. Total different vibe than if you were in South Africa or, any of the African countries. And it's obviously Africa. When you go to the island country, you think you're in Europe. It's white folks or something else, but it's rarely Africans. It's rarely Africans. And the only Africans there usually are Africans that are working, low level servant type of positions that they've bought over and they are just there to work, unfortunately. Yes, people, yes, people. In 2025, it's still some like slave ass type of um, work going on. Yes, it is. It is. In Africa, African people are working for white people in Africa. Sad to say. But we're changing that because we getting up in there, honey. We coming up in there. We coming up in there. And they don't know what to do. They're freaking out. I know they're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, okay. All right. The Black Americans are coming. What are we gonna do? Oh my God. Oh my God. And funny story, really quick. Okay. I know I'm giving y'all info and people on Facebook, and I know you hate to go into this other long stuff. But when you go over to the continent, sometimes now most of the white folks that you run into, they're cool, especially the Italians. They're real cool. Um, they love themselves some chocolate. Trust, okay? Trust. They love some chocolate. But the other folks, they're cool too. It's different than from the US. White folks globally, In most places, their interaction with you is, especially when they know you from the US, totally different because you're more US than you're black. Um, it's a different type of vibe, but some will slip up. Some will slip up and feel that they are the entitled white person and you are a black African, a slave, or whatever they think. And you got to check them real quick. And folks that know moi, one of them ran into me on a good bad day. And I know that they walk lightly now. So when you're in Africa, usually your hair's braided. So they don't know any better. So if you're there in a tourist or whatever, and usually if you're in a tourist setting, I'm going to tell y'all. So that's why we have to go over there and make presence if we're able, right? So in most tourist spaces, you're not going to see other black people. Is that crazy? When you go to Africa and you are at the hotel, you are at the resort, you're on the beach, you're going to be the only black person. But the white folks, if you let the white folks tell it about Africa, oh my God, they're so scared. Oh my God. But that's all that's over there. So let's not get it twisted. And so many of my people that's out here, Mecca, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. The folks, the black folks that's out here that have reserves, and the first question they ask about, well, how safe and all of that. I know they heard that from some white people. Tell them, tell your friends, and sharing is caring, y'all. So please share this video right now. Just push the share button for me. Just push the share button, push the like, all that. Just push, 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 push. But you could tell your friends that they don't have to worry about the safety because the white folks over there, not us. Now we're coming, but we're in Ghana and the places that's popular. But we talking about, especially with Africa Awaits and 50 Shades of Glow, we are hitting every country, all 54, as far as visiting there. Now, out of the 54 countries, I have to say like 10% is not on the list, not to visit or to live, because it's some crazy nonsense going. If it's not, like a war or political uprise or major political corruption, and they don't want not tourists. They don't want tourists up in there. They don't want you taking pictures. Nothing. So it's about 10 countries that they don't, because they got their own stuff going on. So, but the rest of the countries, the next 54, 40, at least 40 countries, and probably 35 out of 30 out of the 40 countries to visit, I would definitely encourage you to check out living there also. So with Mauritius, as I mentioned, Mauritius and Zanzibar kind of reminds me of the same, but Zanzibar is connected to the mainland, and to the mainland is in Tanzania. And you see black people, but you also see a lot of white people in Zanzibar. So in Mauritius, it's the same thing. You're going to see. I don't want my phone to get hot and then it'll drop. So you see all white people. So if you are like over it here and you want to go somewhere, even on like vacation, you might as well go to Turks and Caicos. And I want to give Africa all of its due. But As far as Mauritius is concerned, even though it's a African country, it's they almost don't claim it as an African country. It's by default, but like the French pretty much runs it. The French, the Indian, that has that type of influence there. It also has that type of influence with the food also. So you're not going to get in African, you're going to get a beautiful experience. Okay. Mauritius. I'll probably visit Mauritius at one point in time, just for the beauty of it. But it has beauty because it's financed by Europe. Okay. Let's get into the nitty gritty, right? So your lifestyle can be whatever you would like. Okay. So even though Mauritius is the pricier place to live as a expat, it's still 40% less than, or really more than that, still 50% less than living in the United States. So, okay. So the typical, let me start not with the cost of living, but I'm going to just give you a baseline of, because a lot of people ask, well, what type of job could I get when I go to Africa? So I'm going to stop. I don't want to be rude. Okay, so I'm going to stop people there because what you want to avoid, I don't want to say not what you not don't want to do. What you want to avoid is to go to the continent, to be dependent on the continent and their resources to employ you or whatsoever. To really live your best life, to really live the American dream that you have worked for up until this time, please do not go to Africa and look for a job, because we have in our mind that everybody gets paid at the same pay rate as the United States. They do not, not by a long shot, not by a long shot. What, honestly, what an average person would get paid, well, like an average teenager, like, you know, the minimum wage here is is whatever crazy number it is, but the living wage or the living minimum wage here, most people won't take anything under $18 an hour, $17 an hour. The fast foods are $16 an hour, right? People get paid. My uh my caretaker, he gets paid, he works 6 days a week, and he gets paid $26 a week in US money. And from what I'm told, that's like great pay. So that's a week, not an hour, not a day, a week. So that is going, and even if you are a professional, you can work in banking and only make $1,000 a month. And that's great money. Like, you balling if you're making $1,000 a month. You are high up. So what you want to kind of get away from is depending on the continent to give you some form of employment, unless you came through before in like with the NGO, something governmental. You are a contractor of some sort, and you're still getting, the only way that you're going to be able to live that American dream and chill, like really live your life and chill, you have to have a semblance of the American dollar in your pocket. You cannot go over there and be like, okay, well, I'll work for whatever the retail establishment is. Yeah, you'll be making like $20 a week. You don't want to do that, right? So um, you want to come with a business. And the awesome thing is you're not being discriminated against. You can go and do anything that you would like that in the United States you would be discouraged, or you can't do it because it's so much money for rent and for supplies, and you can't get a business loan, and your credit got to be whatever. In other why is the United States the only country that has a credit scoring system for you to get anything? Talking about that's a setup. In Africa, as long as you got the money, they like, oh, okay. It's no, okay, well, what's your credit score to? Or, nah, it's not all of these levels and rules. So you can go, if you have a dream, you can fulfill it. But you have to first start to set the stage and prepare. Okay. You got to set and prepare. I've been on this journey since 2020, when it was just crazy during COVID. I'm here watching TV. I'm seeing all these people get killed. And I said, I can't do this. I got to get my Black son out of this country. And I saw this documentary on South Africa. It was called The New South Africa. And I was like, oh my gosh. And how South Africa did a total turnaround. And I'm like, okay, I want to go to South Africa. And I was one of those that's like, oh, because I think I was working for Range Rover or something at that time. And I was like, oh, well, let me reach out to them and see if I can, work for Range Rover, Mercedes or something while I'm over there. And they never got back in touch with me. But I was over there looking for a job thinking like, oh, it may not pay as much as the US, but I'm going to get paid well. And then when I was going through I guess the jobs, I don't know how I was looking for jobs. And I was like, that seems kind of low. How are you going to, how are you going to survive off that? So again, setting up to transition, and that is in the guide. Y'all got to get the guide. Y'all have to get the guide. It's I've worked on that book for the last 2 years. It's like 40 something pages, and it goes through a full year of planning, because what you don't want to do is just go for it because stuff is busting out crazy here, and you do an emotional move. That's setting you up for disaster, I'm going to tell you. Because you could even go and visit Africa on vacation. You fall in love, like if you went to Ghana or Nigeria for Deti December, and you like, oh, yes, I'm coming back. This is that. I'm selling everything. I'm coming back. And if you really don't have a plan of how you are going to live your life, it's going to be rough, and it's not going to be what you thought of initially, because just like with anything else, like I personally, because since I'm going down that journey now, right? It is exactly like when you meet someone and you date someone. So when you first meet that person, you're like, oh, this is that, and it portrays a certain image that you are intrigued with, that you say, okay, yeah, I want this. And then you're going through the dating stage and all of that. And oh, yes, you're just so into it. Then you get to like the engaged. Yes, I want this. I'm about to go down the aisle with it. And you're still excited. Then when you get to the married part, and that's where I am right now, you're like, okay. But you start to see the challenges. It's not so honeymoonish anymore, right? But I'm going to tell all of y'all that's here on YouTube and on Facebook is worth every bump compared to if I decided right now that I was just going to stay in the United States. I think I would go into a severe depression and really be on some real anxiety and be on medicine for the rest of my life. Like I just cannot see myself subjecting myself to what is going on here for the rest of my life. So I feel great and I'm grateful to God that I have the option to have options to not deal with this in the long term. That's the only way I'm surviving and my mental can stay intact, because if I did not have a plan and I went into panic mode and I'm, sucking up or getting strays from all this nonsense that's going on. Mm-mm. And I know we as a people, we have PTSD. We don't even realize it. We just continue to, because so many things happen to us, but we have trained ourselves so much that, well, it is the way it is, and we just keep it moving. But it's so much stuff that we have going on. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to, you know, our life. We deserve a wonderful life. We deserve it and we need to get it. And Africa is the place to get it. Okay. Going back to Mauritius. Okay. So the cost of living. Okay. So the minimum wage there's $3.54. I would assume a day or an hour. An hour. Yeah, 354. And it's $1,000 a month USD. That's good, because if that's like the average minimum pay, $1,000 a month is a lot. But they are one of the the fourth wealthiest country in Africa, and then it's a small place too. So you're doing very well. And one of it was an African American guy. He went over there. He didn't like the way he was treated, and uh, so that was an issue. So somebody put in the chat if they have visited Mauritius. Put in the chat and tell me how you were treated. So when we revisit Mauritius, we can have more and more information to give to people, to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down about visiting. So you don't have to spend your money on a place where you're tolerated and not celebrated. We want to stop all of that. Okay, we want to give our money to places that really appreciate us. Period. Okay, so let's get into the housing. So as an expat, you usually the uh, capital is Port Louis, but most of the expats live on the north side or the west, and the popular expat area is called Tamarins. And the for a family of four, if you have a family of four, um, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom villa, apartment, or house usually starts about $1,200 a month. So it's not cheap, but it's still less expensive than the United States. Now, for 1,600, you get a decent house, but with that, you also get staff, and staff is normal in on the continent. Staff is very normal. So EC, welcome, 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 welcome. Staff is very normal on the continent. So for 16, about 1,600 and up, family of four, if you rent a place, what comes with it is like two staff people. So you have a house cleaner and a pool person. That's pretty normal. And then, um, and it's in most cases, you um, will also have security. So basically, like that's what I have. I have um, a caretaker. Now, he was my pool person, and that's a blessing because if you have a pool, you need that sucker maintain, right? And so he was the pool person, but then when I had to release my assistant, I promoted him to caretaker since he was, at the property. And then there's a housekeeper that comes in and cleans once a week, just to keep the house fresh. And if there is um, like some Airbnb people that come in that's coming to visit, that's when they come and work every day. And also, security is big in the African countries. When Maya, how are you, Miss Maya? Um, yeah, security's big. So most places have a security guard. They even have like a security, like little tower. Like it be so serious. I'm like, is it serious? Like, they would tell me, oh, Miss, they don't call you by your first name, but they're like, Madame, you definitely need a security. And I'm like, there's nobody in the house. The house been sitting there. Oh no, you need a security. So I had to break down and I have a Maasai, thank God. I have a Maasai. And we're getting, when we talk about Kenya, we're talking about the Maasais and everything like that, but you have security. So with at 1600, you get a cleaner with your house. And that's even if you're in some apartments, you will get a housekeeper that comes with it. TJ, how are you? Um, so that is the cost. 1600, get a pool person if you have a pool, and housekeeper. Now, um, if you want a housekeeper full time, it's about $350 a month. Food is expensive. And the reason why food is expensive, as I mentioned earlier, with those island countries, like they were just an island sitting in with nothing. They don't have the oil. They don't have the diamonds. They're not sitting on diamonds. They're sitting on nothing. They may have some agriculture stuff, like they may have forced to grow some corn or cotton or something, but they don't have the minerals and all of the um, resources that the mainland has. So they have to get everything imported. So that's going to be Bonita. Welcome. Um, yeah, so that is going to push the prices up. Utilities. Cool stuff with utilities. Most of Africa, and we should be doing it here in the United States. I don't know why we're not. No, I know why we're not, because it's not going to make anybody any money if we get solar. Now, they've talked about solar, but we really haven't, and we've been talking about solar for decades. And we could have had solar and saved on all of this electric and all of, I don't understand why they say, oh, let's be green, but then you get all these electric cars. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. So in most of the African countries and developing ones, solar is big. Solar is big. And electric is a backup. That's the goal. Solar for your heating, for your electric. And electric is a backup because electric is very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. I have fans. My neighbor, he got an air conditioner, and he said the first month he turned on that air conditioner, got the bill was like 400 US. I'm like, I'm not getting it. And so many people were like, Gloria, you don't have an air conditioner? No, no. I got nice, good fans. They circulate, okay? Listen, you in Africa, get with it. Go down to the beach, jump in the pool. Shoot. No, I don't have no air conditioner. No, not at $400 a month. And then it costs freaking $1,000 to get an air conditioner. Absolutely not. Okay. So I ain't rolling like that. No. Trying to just keep it together, child. So basically, solar is it, but utilities, 200. Carol, how are you? Welcome. So um utilities about $200 between uh gas, electric, stuff like that. That's not bad. It's high compared to other African countries, but again, compared to the US, if you want to plan to expat, to be an expat, it's still at least half of what the US cost of living is. And that's the US, as I say all the time. It's not Atlanta, it's not New York, it's the US. So, um, we're looking at the US is what, 2,900 or $2,300 a month cost of living, the average. And that's not, again, in the big cities, that's just an average of America. Marcia DaCosta, how are you? Welcome. Yes, so let me see. The internet is about $40, and that's pretty much across the line to have a hardwired internet. And that's good because when you get, they do have the portable internet things, but you got to almost like fill them up, fill them up, fill them up. So you can get a hard wire that, if you're at the house, and then you get the local phone, um, get the phone and get the data minutes. So you would have, you have your African phone, your African number, and then also um, the benefits or the necessities to getting an African number or African phone is, in some places they have the digital currency, like in Kenya they have the M-Pesa. So you need your number, your telephone number, and it's only with the African numbers at the grocery store. If you want your points, everything has to go to that African number. You can't do it with a foreign number. So just a little side note, if you're planning on going and staying for a while or over the 90 days or even up to 90 days, um, yeah, up to 90 days, uh, uh, get, you could get a cheap phone for like $100, and then you have the minutes whatsoever, just have that number. And then talking about staying there long and everything, Mauritius, you do not need a visa. It's visa on arrival. So that's a positive thing. So as I said, I hear very positive, and I have, you know, positive things about Mauritius as far as the tourist is concerned. Um, Expat, you're going to see more of what you left the United States. That's what you're going to see as an expat on a regular. You're not going to have that authentic African experience. So but some black folks go to Portugal, they go to Lisbon. So it's just what your preference is, right? So let me see what else. If you want to send your child to private school, it's about $400 a month, depending on the school, and it could go up from there. It's a visa on arrival, and then the clothing and how you move there. I told you before that, they have bus free transportation for seniors, students, and um, the disabled. That is great. Um, the clothing you pack, pack light. You're not you doing a whole ton of heavy clothes and, everything that we have going on here, all these expensive purses and all of that. And just for those to prepare. And I'll say this from time to time in the lives, start to now, because it's already bowdy in these streets. Start to sell off your stuff. Start to say, I sold my car. I got rid of my car right after I came back from Africa in April, no, June of 20 May of 2022. I finally had to break down and get another car. But if you don't need it, just bank that money. Put it in. I love Fidelity. I'm not advertising them yet, but I love Fidelity. They're very easy to work with, and you put your money in there. But start. If you get a second job, I had to get a second. I got second job, third job, fourth job. Any jobs that come to me, I'll take them. Okay, listen, I'll take them because I got to get out of here. Got to get out of here. So I got about. I don't even know how many jobs I have. And that's not counted my businesses. But I got to do what I got to do, y'all. And y'all got to do what y'all got to do. This process is not easy, but it's doable. Like I don't know if y'all can see it in the back. This is from Mandela. It says, it always seems impossible until it's done. So you just continue with the process. It's not going to be an easy process. I don't care who says what. But at the end, you're going to have an easy life. But, some days it's going to be up, some days it's going to be down, but you got to keep pushing. But you can't have both. You got to make some serious sacrifices, and you have to really think about, okay, what do I want my life to look like? My everyday life to look like next year or 5 years or 10 years from now, the quality. And you got to want it, and you got to want it bad, because the journey of it is not going to just be peachy cream smooth, but but what keeps you going forward is that no matter how hard it gets, it's still going to be better in the end of what I'm experiencing now. So that is the headspace where you have to be. It's just like getting your degree. It's how bad you really want it or value it. So that's my little tip from the GED section. But anybody have any questions? And also, you can always DM me and ask me any questions. Set up a call if you want to plan to do a visit to Mauritius. I can assist you with that. Absolutely. I encourage everyone to get uh, what is it called? Returning home or Africa Awaits, something like that. The 12-month step by step guide. It is finally available. Put in the chat if y'all would like a itinerary. And everyone that is on the chat tonight, Carol, yes, everyone that's on the chat tonight, if in the put in the chat if you would like a 5-day itinerary. I am going to give that to y'all complimentary for free. For free. just send me a DM or put it in the chat, and I will send you a 5-day Mauritius itinerary for free. If there's nothing else, I want to thank everyone for coming on. My name is Gloria, Miss G, Glow, whatever anyone wants to tell me. And thank y'all so much for being part of Africa Awaits. This is a very powerful group, and I appreciate y'all. I love it because the group is basically self preserving. Like, I'll look and get a notification. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Oh, look at that post. And it's from Africa Awaits. I don't have to monitor it. I don't have to, as long, and I just want to let y'all know, as long as it is positive, uh, with Black business. The only thing that is non-African that you can put in the group, post in the group, um, is a Black business, because we want to focus on giving Black businesses an opportunity to make money and have Black businesses seen. So when February starts, I'm going to write down like each day. So everybody that knows a Black dentist in their state, and put the Black dentist down. People that know Black grocery stores, people that know, that make Black whatever, all Black businesses for the month of February. We're going to do each day a topic, and people can post it in Africa Waits. But please post any great things that you see about moving and traveling to Africa, to share all of the information to others. We have to spread the word. We have to really build ourselves as a community. It's so important. It's vital. It's I don't know what to say. We are at like a fire engine time. We cannot sit. And just by y'all being on Africa Awaits, I know y'all aren't the group that's sitting. That's why I took the live off of my personal page, because a lot of people that was watching on the personal page, they don't have their passport. So if you don't have your passport, no shade. Like, for real, that's your decision. I can't, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say, because we are in serious emergency mode, and we got to be ready. We can't get ready. It's past the time of getting ready. We need to be ready right now. So get yourself prepared, and and plan. And one thing that I always say, start to sell stuff that you haven't used. Put that money to the side, get a second job, put all that money to the side so you can bounce. So the question of, well, when I get over there, what am I gonna do? If you have, if you have um income, lump sum, or um, residual or passive income. A lot of countries, like I know Kenya, I'm not sure about Mauritius, has a great, matter of fact, a great. I saw the prime minister talk about their retirement visa and their retirement setup in Mauritius. Fire. So even though I'm on the fence about being an expat, but retiring there, the they are very friendly and open to retirees going to Mauritius. Forgot to tell y'all that. But anyway, I want to thank y'all again. I will see y'all tomorrow. What we got going on tomorrow? Tomorrow is Friday. Um, I have to double check to see, because I know I bounced around, but I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all take care. All right. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming on, and please share this video. Thank you. See you tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow, YouTube. Okay.